I said to the girls at the end there in the huddle, sometimes you win pretty, sometimes you win ugly, sometimes you grind it out. And I thought tonight was probably outside of Amy's goal and maybe the corner with Jono, that was pretty. And a couple of things Vero did before she had to go off. The rest was just a grind. And sometimes games are like that. And I say this a lot. I think last year we wouldn't have won that game. I think that's what is propelling us on every week, is that there's just something different about this group, that we've got a mentality where we don't want to be beaten. We wish we could make it easier on ourselves. We want to do that. You know, unfortunately, when you get an injury to one of your most creative players, that can nullify the pretty. And it also means that, you know, the substitution patterns that we'd planned out and were hoping to do, we couldn't do. So, yeah, definitely not our performance we wanted, but win your home games.
Obviously, a win's a win.
Yeah.
Are you kind of, in a sense, okay, though, just with the way you guys play? Are you okay with kind of ugly wins? Do you want it to be prettier? I mean,
yeah, yeah, please. I'm okay with ugly wins if we win. I'm not okay with us, and there was a lot of things tonight that we didn't do well enough, and we need to solve that. I think that, you know, losing low for 2 games was big. It put a lot of pressure on Mandy and Gunny. Gunny played on Thursday, you know, in Finland for 90 minutes, and she's just played another 90 minutes. That's just nuts. You know, Mandy was supposed to play 60, and we dragged her to 80, and there's all these things that go on that we're not ever going to make excuses about. But it means that we're putting a lot of pressure on players that we didn't want to have to do that to. But we're coming through it, and I think that I will always take a win, and I like ugly wins in the sense that it means that we know we've got things to work on. We've got 2 huge games coming up. These, for me, I think these 3 games define our season, and we've started off in a positive way with 3 points.
What makes you say that you feel like they define your season?
I just think that these were the games last year that we didn't win. You know, we had this stretch last year, roughly against the same teams. And I don't think we won any of them. I think Sky Blue, it wasn't Sky Blue, it was maybe Orlando or something like that. And we didn't win any of them. And it was what made us go from having a real chance to then clinging on. And we started off with 3 points. So these, I've said, for the players know that this next chunk, which is these 3 games, are vital to our season.
Do you have an update on Vera's injury, and also how much did her coming out change the complexion of the attack?
Oh, yeah, I mean, massively changes it. You know, I think that her ability on the ball to create space, the players in front of her have so much time to move because they're so comfortable that she's going to give it them. And we went with Mal coming on because we felt like we needed to dig in. We were going to have to dig in and defend, and we were a little bit on the momentum was with them at that time. So, and I felt Mal came on and did really well defensively, and showed some sparks on the ball, but she's not the same type of player as Vero. So, yeah, I think it definitely affected the way that we attacked, put more onus onto Katie and Amy and Erica. And I think up till the last... There was periods in the second half where those 3 didn't affect the game too much, but I felt in the last 10 minutes, even when we were, you know, hanging on a little bit, whenever we got the ball to them 3, we still looked like we could be a threat, which was great.
Do you have an update on her injury?
I don't, honestly. I have no idea. Yeah, she didn't feel like it was that bad, but I don't know. I think it's her ankle, but I'm not sure.
No Rachel, no Becky. How are you happy with your backline's performance tonight and how they did? Or
I thought Gabby and Jono were excellent. I thought they were very, very solid. I thought Sid did brilliantly when she came in. You know, I think Michelle has been I think teams have gone after Michelle and Gabby a little bit, and I just felt we needed someone who was more of just a defender. And Sid's naturally a centre-back, and I think when Sid came in, I felt she did brilliantly in that position, which we'd been a little bit exposed in. I thought the back line did well, especially the two centre-backs.
Amy's goal was her 5th of the season. Last year, coming back from her knee injury, it seemed like she was having a harder time getting back into the game a little bit. What's different for Amy this year that's allowing her to score so many goals?
I think anyone who goes through an ACL injury has the same type of journey as A-Rod had, that first 6 months back from being clear is always really difficult because it's all the sharpness and the game savviness, and especially for someone in Amy's position. And this year she's just been phenomenal, honestly. I think that her work rate, her ability to move, how threatening she is when she goes forward. I mean, there's not many people in this league who can score a goal like she did tonight. And it's so much hard work for them to do that because running that far with the ball's pretty tiring. But I just felt any time her or Erica did that, I just thought they were a huge, huge threat. And she's one of the best in the world at doing that. That's what I think she's created a career off, honestly.
Hi, Cara. Good to see you.
How are you?
I'm doing well. One of the things that I thought was so fun about this game is how many young players are out there and are able to make an impact on this team. If you wouldn't mind kind of discussing what the role that these younger, perhaps a little bit more inexperienced players bring to the pitch.
Yeah, I think in a World Cup year, when we're preparing for the World Cup year, you sort of plan as best you can for the draft and throw a few darts to say, hopefully a few darts stick with the players that you bring in. And I think I'll give a lot of credit to Scott here. He did loads of work in preparation for the draft on what we needed and what players we felt we would be able to get at the picks that we had. And then after that, we really highlighted players that hadn't been drafted, Gabby as an example, and invited them to the tryout. And from that, I think, Gabby, Michelle, Risa have been huge. AK's been excellent in training, really grafting, really making it difficult for the other players around her. And I think that their influence on training is pushing the older players. So I think that it's been huge for us. We prepared for it, so I'm not going to say it was too much luck, but you definitely, especially when you're picking it like 23 or whatever we were in the draft, you do have to throw a few darts out and hope that they stick. I think Maddie will come good. I think her injury was just difficult for her, but I think Michelle and Gabby are a great example of you can play at this level if you're willing to give it a go, and thankfully they did.